up 2%. The medical benefit increase of 4.4 if we make no changes, no benefit plan changes, no structural changes, we are looking at a 4.4%. That's excellent because the past 2 years we've had 0% increase. So 4.4 over 3 years is actually very, very good, but I still have to account for it in this budget. Again, that's assuming we make no changes. The PSERS is increasing 16.2. That's a big chunk of change. That adds 147,000 to the budget. And that 147,000 is taking into account reimbursement on the other side. This assumes adding a new position, salary and benefits at about 50,000. There is no technology equipment in this budget.
This is the new position for the help desk, assistant technology coordinator that you're bringing on tonight.
There is no technology equipment in this budget. There's a few pieces that we know of, whether it might be a projector or something at a real low level, but there is no technology included in the budget. And there is no capital improvements included in these numbers. I did not feel comfortable just saying, oh, let me put 75 in here or 75 in here until I had items to attach to it. Every dollar in the budget you have in your hand has a name and an item attached to it. It doesn't have any sort of, the word that used to be in the past was placeholder. There are no placeholders. Everything in, that's why I didn't put anything in for these items. I want to put in the item and the cost when the board decides what they want to put in.
The new playground equipment stuff they talked about, is that considered a capital improvement?
Now, which playground equipment? The stuff that, to repair the playground?
To replace the kindergarten playground they were talking about that?
We're not replacing it, but we're
repairing it.
repairing it.
Okay.
And the PTO has talked about buying additional pieces with their fundraiser. That we don't add the PTO fundraising money to this. That's not.
But the repairs are being taken care of this year. And I think Mr. Kessel will speak to that in the next meeting, or this one. And we do have a significant reduction in projected special education costs. You'll see when you go down through the expenditures, you'll get to line items 322, 323 in particular, and you'll see a big drop. And that is strictly a factor of what kiddos we have where right now, but that could change. So we have a lot of favorability that we can get there at a time when we really need it. But Ms. Kogler or Ms. Kreider could come to me tomorrow and say, so we want to be really very, very careful there. But again, what's in there is what I know we have and what I think we're going to have going forward. And again, you have this copies of all this data in front of you. It's much easier to read. You can go across and simply look at the history, look where we're flat, look where we're up, look where we're down. I tried to explain on the slides prior some of the heavy hitters, what's affecting that. But again, I think at a budget workshop, we would want to take the time to go line by line so you have a better understanding of it. In many cases, right now it's pretty basic. The questions I had relative to Kathy aren't in here. And the rest of it is what's happening right now. And again, I break those up as finitely as I can. To break them up any further could get very unwieldy. Now, you are going to have a presentation later tonight in the next meeting relative to the bond sale. I believe we estimated, I told you earlier, the bond sale would be around $182,000. It actually saved $201,000. So we did get some favorability today on that. That $27,000 that we'll save in next year's budget is not in that number. I did not, again, feel comfortable when I was putting this together, putting that in until I knew what it was. So at the next budget workshop, you're going to start out with a deficit of 302. Off that right away for the bond sale that occurred today. But then you're going to add on to that whatever you want for capital or for technology. So it's going to be a moving target until it's resolved.
Caroline, is this tuition 560, is that teacher tuition or is that students that we have placed?
That's students that we have placed. Charter school,
Wow.
all placed tuition or charter school. Teacher tuition is a benefit and all your benefits are in the 200s. I put this slide up there just so we could see where we were when we start to talk about capital. In 2015-16, the board authorized moving about $184,000 into the capital projects fund. And these were the items they wanted to be purchased and completed with that money. Of that, you can see that the playground's done, elementary carpet is done, the school cable run, the everyday math curriculum was purchased, some video cameras, and a server. The other items that are on this sheet, while the money was moved over into capital and it was appropriated in the current year's budget, and it is sitting there, these items have not been completed for obvious cash flow reasons. So I just wanted to point that out.
So, parking, like, not option, no charges, all, not option.
Is that a dumb question?
No.
I mean, why am I gonna spend $10,200 to plug in? And there's two of them, well, one's for one.
Right.
But you can actually plug 30 laptops into one cart, we don't have 30 outlets. Aaron's right, we don't have
That's
30
a good
outlets.
point.
We don't have
That's a
30
good
outlets
point.
in the classroom.
A lot of times we talk about what is everybody else doing, what's our millage rate compared to other folks in the county. So I just kind of have a running chart. As you can see, for 16-17, nobody I talked to has any idea what they're going to do with their budget. 3 schools that I know of for sure, Gettysburg, Littlestown, and Conewago, did actually apply for exceptions. The exceptions were approved, but they don't know, and in most cases, they don't think they're going to use them. If you remember, exceptions are if you want to raise taxes beyond your index, beyond the 2.9%, there are certain things, medical, PSERS, and a few other things that you can to raise your millage rate beyond the index. You as a board back in November said you would live within the index and not apply for those exceptions. I do know when I spoke to Gettysburg, although they applied for them, they're not even sure if they're going to go the whole way to the index. So, but this is just where folks are, and you can see where Fairfield is in line with everyone else. And this slide just kind of looks at where we've been over the years. You can see 13, 14, 14, 15, 15, 16. We've had that same rate. 16, 17, I just put where we are, our increase is unknown, and the potential revenue if we went to the index would be around $200,000. Again, these are just informational for. And the timelines have not changed because we did do the resolution. We're at a June 30th deadline date. We have the 20 to 30 days that we have our advertising requirements. We have our deadline for the proposed final budget, which is May 31st. Those timelines have not changed. And I do recommend we get some budget workshops going so we can make some decisions on the information that we have.
She wondered why the tuition was so high, 11, 12.
171,000, and then it dropped down to 79,000, and then it's been pretty, around that big.
That was so high that you have it for.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I do know it was
Yeah.
So that's just first pass. That's where we are now. That's what we know now. That's what's in there now. Those are the assumptions for us to start working on and give you all time to really look through it, ask questions, get a better understanding what's included in some of the objects. If you're not sure, so we can get as many questions answered and have some dialogue as quickly as we can. Does anybody have any immediate questions or anything that jumped out at you?
Next thing on the agenda is the vet tech program. You actually have some handouts. Mrs. Slater, sorry she wasn't here this evening. She wanted to come and actually talk about it. And like one of the many people in this district, she was quite ill today and had next to no voice left. So this is more so.
Identify with that.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. This is information, what we were looking at, she would have to go back and, we're talking about 17-18 school year. Because next year she would literally have to take courses in order to be certified to do this. But we are looking at, and she's interested in taking those courses and becoming certified to offer that tech assistant to our students. We're starting to have a discussion with Mrs. Rappion. With them. So I think we can actually make this go forward. We're just looking for whether or not this is something the board wants us to continue to investigate.
Well, we continue to investigate. I think it's fine. So we'll go to that.
And like I said, we will, right now, we're once we have good confirmation with veterinarians locally, we actually wanted to take some board members to the York school that does this, but they only offer it every other year. And this is their off year. So next year, we can actually go see them running the program as it runs.
I think that's probably good, because I think a lot of us are already wrapped up with negotiations with the whole library situation, so I think waiting until the following, it might be a good idea.
But we just want you to know we are starting to look at this and starting to do the research. Courses that she's done.
How do you measure how much interest you have? What's the vehicle that you use to?
Mainly conversations with the high school counselor as well as with Mrs. Slinger. And we do have kids who actually have looked at, would like to have that and feel interested in that area. We have from the senior board, senior projects, we had a lot of kids working with at the vet animal shelters and have an interest in that area. So that was the reason why as well. Good help.
I don't remember if I'm correct, but last time I thought you said there might be a potential for this actually to generate some revenue for the school, right?
It is something that superintendents, we've all talked about the idea of each district may be taking on a separate certification area to offer, and then, kind of like the special ed consortium where those kids would come here for the day and their education would occur here, and you would pay just like just like they do if they come here for the NI program, they pay us. And fly with the other special ed consortium customers. The same would be true here. Because we do know that other districts have kids who are interested in this area and they're not looking to offer this program. So what if we, figure out what it cost would be, send your kids here, and we'll send our kids somewhere else for something else.
Do we have an idea of the cost of the education?
I wish she was here. I want to say she told me it was 4 courses. So whatever, and we reimburse it at the Penn State rate.
So we would reimburse this woman that's going to go again the training.
We don't have any choice. If she takes a course as part of this collective bargaining agreement.
Other question I have is,
No?
what if she takes the certification and then she leaves?
That's
It's a
very
chance-
possible.
Chance they
Okay.
could take.
Very possible. Same way as people that we paid to get administrative degrees or any other degree, they can get that and they're gone.
So but then the entire program depends on this one person.
That's correct at the moment. Well, and she's the only one certified in this area. I mean, even has the background in this area because of her ag training.
Well, that's just like, Mrs. Weber, where did you get your administration? Where were you when you got your certification for administration?
But under the district.
There you go. Mrs. Richwine?
Another district.
Yeah.
You were here.
Don't
You were here. I know you were here. But you see, no matter,
But that's the entire program, you know,
Yep,
administrative
it
is a little bit different, when an entire
Right.
program, saying, we're gonna offer this program, hoping it might generate some revenue for the district, and then that person leaves, then.
So then we would be back like any other program. Well, I'll
trying
use,
to advertise.
I'll
to
use the
get-
Microsoft, program that we had years ago when that person left. We didn't make it a requirement as part of the hiring, that becomes part of the job description. That you get that certification if you don't already have it.
Okay,
So that's
so
what,
there's a way to.
to make sure that we get somebody to continue.
If,
They've been so many years.
Not for anything less than a doctor.
Can't find them contractually.
We cannot currently.
well, that's something that the negotiations team will look at.
If it was business, we would have a contract. We'd find that person contractually to pay us back or to get 1 year or something.
Give some.
I was at North School for 10 years before I left.
We're not questioning your,
Well, and I will say, when I first got here, that was part of, if you got an administrative degree. I know at one time, I think Dr. Saylor was one who actually spearheaded that when she was here. Was the fact that if you were getting an administrative degree, then you had to remain extra 3 years or pay back the payment.
There you go. I'm not taking notes.
I thought you had it right here.
Not a whole lot up there.
The next two things that are the top of the agenda tonight are the Spanish and the German trips. And it's more so just for your information, we have asked that you approve our new Spanish teacher and our new German teacher are anxious to take kids. I will say the German trip has lots of people's interest. And actually, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. McDowell, but part of the trip is Anuta's brother's home.
Why are there 2 trips?
Good
One is, one,
Yeah.
And do we pay this person's?
So,
no.
Okay.
usually we do a trip a year, in lieu of interest, trying to generate interest in the German language. Mrs. Klein has put forth to take a trip, and there are 2 proposals, one for April, and one for June. I think they are D and E on the actual board agenda, then only is the reduced cost. It costs students for the German trip $600 less to go in April than in June. Certainly June's a better time maybe for people to go, but it is less expensive. And it does cost a little bit more to go to Europe than it does to, as you can see from your packets, to the Dominican Republic. So the one with the Dominican Republic is they're going with Gettysburg. Past 2 years ago, they went with Gettysburg, so that's going to be planned again as a group to go with Gettysburg. So in the future, then the objective would be, and I've talked to the foreign language teachers about this, would be to go back to an every other year scenario where we're not going to a 1 year.
Karen,
Both of those trips are right around the Easter break next year. One's right before, one's right after. So I think the kids for each trip miss about 4 days.
for education, but I don't like to have full information before we go.
Well, I thought. I understand.
Are they gonna talk about the agenda, where their itinerary is then?
You should have that information, I believe.
Oh, I should?
You have the itinerary, where they're going, when they're going.
Oh, I do?
I can
Right
see
here
it.
they are.
So there's no cost to encourage the school?
No, just us sponsoring, or just approving it.
And it's an either or. Not both trips to,
It's-
not going to Germany twice.
It's either or German trip.
Yeah.
Spanish is
That-
four.
I'm understanding from Mrs. Klein that they would prefer to go in April, but in lieu of having 2 trips in April, they would go in June, but we prefer to go of a German trip in April and a Spanish trip next spring.
And can any of us sign up for this?
And also,
I've gone on the French trip.
Yeah. this is in lieu of them having enough numbers on the Spanish.
Right.
So that's pretty much gonna take care of itself. The German trip, I think they need 12 students to go. If they don't have 12 students, they aren't gonna be able to go, so.
Think you're 12 for
Qualifies as a student
Fairfield?
name?
Well,
Right.
they can go,
When we went on
but
the French
her, she doesn't get paid for it
Right.
as the,
Yeah.
yeah.
She was telling me, Mrs. Klein was telling me they needed 12 people, I think, to go. 12 people.
You can have to answer that when she gets here.
There are not more, would have been nice to have more time to review this.
You can pay for it, you can pay for it.
Sorry about that.
Except for, what's our next board meeting?
Yeah, and they have if they sign up before April 15th, they have another discount. The students can get off the rate of going.
Now this says, it's for next year.
Correct.
It's for 2017, oh, okay, this says April.
I think we're
Oh,
talking about
oh,
making
oh.
reservations.
Okay, well then you can table it, we can talk about it next.
April of 2016 is the enrollment deadline to receive discount.
Correct.
So there was a time.
Next April is, or
The trip is
next
next
month in
Correct,
April
because
is.
they have to register before this April. They,
A
They
discount.
have to register every year ahead of time to approve the discount.
Is there another topic on the meeting?
yeah, you have,
And we don't have to go to meeting.
yep, you have another
Yeah,
meeting
we
right
have
before,
here,
right
right
before the deadline.
Right here, 11.
Vote in that meeting, wasn't that, this is the work session?
Oh, yeah, so. the-
Oh, that's right,
Oh,
the
the
regular 25th.
That's right.
Thank you.
There's no conflict, I mean, do you guys see from taking 2 trips, because they're different classes in the same, that close together?
There should be a conflict. I mean, and the
It's not the same
students,
kids.
and it wouldn't
Yeah.
be the same students because it's 2 different
Like,
languages.
So what's the downside?
They're not taking us for free.
I mean, personally, I don't see it at too many. On downside, pretty much go off without a hitch. They've already have that set up to go with the group with Gettysburg again. I feel like the German trip is going to take care of itself. Either there's going to be enough interest or there's not. And if there's enough, that's great. That's wonderful. We have people going. We're building momentum with the German program.
It'd be substantially different in price for them to go in April than to go in summertime.
Yes, it's $600 more.
Well, that's true of anybody who's going to Europe. Cheaper if you don't go in the summer.
That's why, that's another reason why the April was put on there as an option, instead of just going to June.
Okay, well, let's move on down here.
The elementary swim program, as I told you Friday in the notes, I met with the live individuals after, as the phys ed department's rewriting their curriculum. They're very interested in the idea of a basic swim water safety class. The phys ed teachers are for 3rd grade. That was the recommendation of the phys ed team, or phys ed curriculum group, feeling that usually around 3rd grade around here with all the creeks and streams and lakes, that's when the kids are off on their own, and if they had just basic swimming or basic water safety, that would be a good thing. The people at the Y agreed that that was a good age group. So we're in that discussion back and forth now because actually the cost will be effective based on the Y will literally have to close their pool to do this. So that's, losing revenue for them. So they're gonna.
They close it for all kinds of things,
Yeah.
certain periods of time, so I mean,
So they're calculating a proposed cost, and then she'll be coming to meet with the phys ed department, because some of the, the logistics we would need to talk about too, as to how do we make this work in the schedule? Is it even feasible? what would it look like, how many teachers would have to be there, because it's just, Mrs. Rhodes and and another instructor. Yeah, she said, I was just thinking about something. I said, maybe you could bring the whole, or like bring 2 classrooms. While one classroom's in the pool, your phys ed teacher could be having phys ed class in our gym. And then we could just flip flop, and then you wouldn't have to run the buses several times. So that was, I said, well, that's something to talk about.
What's the time frame?
Well, we probably won't get it done for next year. That's what we'd like to do. But, right now, it's kind of like, we just come up with this idea, so now we're trying to see if it's feasible.
What time of day, what time of year?
They're talking about for the Ys that are small, because that's when their pool is used the least. She said from like Christmas on, their pool really ramps up. So they're looking in the fall and I haven't talked to the phys ed department whether or not that makes sense to them, when they want to do it that early.
So there'll be a cost to do this through the wall. Plus the
So, there's a minimal cost to the kids but then it's whether or not, I don't want my kid, participate because I don't want to pay for it. So then what do you do with these kids? So, to me, that's kind of fuel. Then you're going to have kids that you're going to have somebody watching with nothing to do.
So the question is whether or not we would pass along that fee to the parents,
Correct.
or keep it
Or whether
in-house.
we just keep it in-house. And then again,
And there's still maybe parents that don't want their kids to do it.
I will say that we've done this in Wayford for numerous years, and I don't remember if any kids in the thing.
You're next.
Because,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
well, only for the one school, only for some of you, that all the elementaries came, so some of that busing was pretty distant.
Is there a scheduling there as far as how long they're gone, like?
Yeah.
Well, and that's what, like I said, we just started the discussion with them about, how long, this is how long a phys ed class is. Mrs. Rick Wine, we haven't talked, this is the phys ed department.
I knew about this.
Yeah, she knew about swimming, but.
This is just information.
Yep, this is
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
we're
that's
just
right.
starting to
Yeah.
talk. No, not at all. So, the Safe Schools Safety Audit, I sent you the recommendations. I do have the entire audit. Every page says confidential, which is why it's not copied and in your hands, because once I reviewed this, there's lots of stuff in here that we sure don't want out there, because it's everything about what we do and where things are within this building and all the buildings, things we wouldn't want somebody else to have on their hands. So you have the recommendations in front of you. I can tell you that we received, as I told you, we received the score of excellent, which was pretty good. Better than what, and the state police officer at the county who testified, they all said that actually we were in a lot better shape than a lot of schools that they've seen. So they were quite pleased. They did have some recommendations. But basically, the trash cans are waste where they would put it.
But we're not.
Are those in here, the
Yeah.
recommendations?
Yep, you've got them all right there.
These are their entire.
That's their entire recommendation list. Now granted, they didn't go to the elementary yet, so we back to that one, to this building. And you'll notice the one thing that I've said all along that I wanted was the doors, these end doors and by the gym where they're always propped open, a alarm system on them that after they're propped open for 5 seconds or so, the alarm goes off and you can't shut it off.
But we're not talking about this here.
This is strictly informational. If you would. Okay? And answer any questions I can answer.
Who sponsors the, living? We talked about that.
The Red Cross and I have talked with the person, I have talked with those people about the fact that they will not be propping the doors open either.
I wasn't sure whether that was a class project they had, or why do we ever do it to school instead of the.
Oh, we
Right.
always.
And it's funny because Gina Lee, the phys ed teacher, told me that the lady from the Red Cross told her she'd like to double how many blood drives they have here for school, and Gina said, you know, there's gonna be something back for us, because right now they want us to pay the ridiculous amount for the kids to get their CPR and first aid card, which is, we are self-sustaining. Gina is a certified trainer. I mean, there's no cost to the Red Cross at all. She has her own manual, she does everything. And yet I think it's $6 a card per kid. So she, you know, she said, you know, you give us the cards for free and maybe I'll consider that. That was it. She was
Well, a lot of high school kids give them too.
Yep.
Karen, I'm not sure if you can answer me, but now that we have the assessment, what's the next step?
Need to bring back the safety committee and share with them the findings. And like you said, we need to now start working on the different hazards that they agreed that are things we need to address, things to get money, and start to build the, and then we'll start bringing in the other people from the community and different resources to be part of the committee. Yep. Senate Bill 880, I sent you, which is what Governor Wolf signed into law, and I got the question about whether or not this year's seniors need to pass. I knew I did it that year. Needed to pass the Keystones in order to graduate. This class never had to pass. It was passed in 2017 started up. And now there's a 2-year moratorium on that. What does that mean? Well,
2019.
I'm not sure anybody in this room has the answer to that.
And right now, but
Right now, it's 2019, and what that means, whatever. So,
Probably by that time it won't even be.
so what you will be getting coming forward is, I'm meeting with Mr. McDowell and teachers of the Keystones. We're going to do some discussion on what we, and with Mrs. Swope, we're going to talk about graduation requirements, because we literally are supposed to have that in writing as part of our policy, which we currently do not have. So we're going to our policy, like, okay. So we will be bringing forward what we are recommending as policy towards graduation.
What is our policy about doing this for cyber charter or homeschool students? Do we do this?
We do not. Well, we have no policy on it. We have an administrative guideline that we all agreed to, that the administrators all met and discussed, because we actually had a request from somebody who goes to a private charter, not our private cyber, not our cyber, because cybers, they have a location for you, because they have to give the PSSA, they have no choice. So they have a site where you all go and take it. The parent wanted them to come here, and for us, and the cyber school said, oh yeah, we'll send the booklet and the stickers to your school, not a problem. You know, I'm sorry, it's a very ugly precedent, because some of these kids we've never ever seen, and we're putting them in with our kids. And the one thing the state has stressed from day one is these testing environments are not to be, not to be different for kids. You're supposed to keep them as normal as possible. And to put kids in there, we don't know how they react. We just, feel it's, well, to our cyber school, you'd come and we would give you the test. But if you're choosing for us to pay for you to go somewhere else, then we feel that that's where you would take the test.
Karen, we also discussed test security. We
Correct.
want to go into the district.
Yeah, because, we know that what we call the Keystone Cops or the PSSA police, they come, they've been here before, and they really do go through your protocol notebooks.
Yeah,
They
they're
will-
pretty strict.
They are very strict, and you know what, this could be a real test security issue, that we're taking possession of a test, and how that test would even get here would be a real question for me. So we said we would not do that.
So will we just continue? As we said that, kind of like, we have all this other place and we're kind of working through that with students, so we'll just continue down that path, how we did doing it, just in case we're gonna do it. It's gonna be required, or?
The senior projects will go away at the end of this year.
I'm sorry to hear that. I think those are valuable. No, I just like it.
I agree.
Good.
Kids don't allow-
I'd rather have them do that than the test.
Well,
No
maybe,
matter what I think.
why you tell some of your friends.
Yeah, right.
So, it will be, we will have to set up whatever we say, because they still have to show proficiency in some manner in order to graduate. So what is that proficiency? This project-based assessment that the state came out with originally, they realized that after they did that, they only had one person to grade them out of 500 school districts. So they found out that couldn't happen. Then they were going to push it back on the IUs. The IU said, oh, no, you're not pushing it on us. And then it was, well, we'll have neighboring districts grade each other.
Jeez, what a nightmare.
So
We're voting here soon.
So what was the
Pay
answer? We're gonna put it on wait and see. So, it's funny because kids all the time would say, do I have to have this? I feel bad when I say, we really don't know. Right now we know you don't have to have it till 2019, but we don't know what 2019 is gonna bring.
Erin, you're safe anyway, so just
Definitely
shoot
safe.
right out that door.
That's why she's smiling like that.
Be voting soon.
Yes, she will.
You also received in the mail, I'm just gonna hit this, the course selection book with the changes that were highlighted, just because you're voting to accept that book tonight. And remember, the only changes were due to hack and dual enrollment, change of wording. So I just want to highlight that one. And you also have in front of you a copy of the letter requesting the road audit that Hamilton Van has asked all the municipalities and school districts to go in with them and request such a thing. So I just wanted you to see the letter as I.
That's not costing us.
That is costing you absolutely nothing.
I want to ask a question, going back to the state meeting thing. In part of figuring out what we're gonna do in the future, can we also incorporate into that the dropout rate? Because I'm kind of surprised to find out how many seniors during senior year are dropping out.
What do you mean the dropout? I'm not sure what you're asking.
If we're gonna make it,
Because the state already has a requirement for that,
what,
for dropout rates.
no, I just want to know what they are.
Okay.
How many kids do we have dropping out every year at the end of the first semester senior year? And why are they dropping out? If we're gonna look at some sort of a plan for how we're gonna get these kids to graduate at the end, then I want to know why some of them aren't graduating to begin with. Why are they dropping out after the first semester?
Mr. McDowell, you have a lot of kids dropping out after the first semester. You have a lot of kids going,
I don't have a lot of kids dropping out.
so we don't have a lot.
Are there some that drop out? Yeah. It's usually we've been averaging, since I've been in the high schools, between 5 or 8 students.
Out of 80? We've got senior class of what this year?
I don't know how many, 80, the class of 80 is only juniors. So I don't know how many of those I don't have those numbers yet. But usually it's between 5 and 8. Usually it's around 10%.
10% of the kids.
And actually, they present at the next board meeting.
Oh.
So I will make sure that that's part of their presentation at the high school level.
Can we have comparative data that shows us against other districts? And it would be nice to know why. That's not how percentages. It'd be nice to consider why.
But why are they dropping out? What are they doing?
Well, some of them may have been due to the keystones because they knew they couldn't pass them and they didn't want to do the remediation and everything else that was required.
Some used to the senior projects when it was
So
so much.
the old
yeah,
senior
yeah.
project, you're right.
I know some have dropped out during that process, but I didn't know it was still that long.
And I've even had gifted kids. There's again, and different reasons.
You have to be careful too, because the state considers someone who finishes their
Yeah.
5th year a dropout. So someone that comes back, say they don't finish in their 4-year cohort in 4 years, they come back their 5th senior year and they get a diploma, they're still considered a dropout. So you have to be careful just looking at those exact numbers because they
But
don't
give
necessarily
us that.
It's good articulation.
tell the complete story.
Howie, what are yours?
To date, I have 4 quotes to purchase number of heaters.
parts on our own. And I have 3 quotes to the installation of the water heaters we've been talking about. I still have 2 other quotes I was expecting to hand out on the installation. And since it's something we're really not going to be able to do, I'll get wait these another week or so while they visit our quotes in and see what we're talking about there. Not the best I can tell you right now. It's still leaking. We're getting by. Somebody mentioned earlier about the playground equipment. We received the pieces for the back elementary playground, the kindergarten one. Received that stuff on Friday. Check it all out. It's, as soon as we get some good weather here, I think we get that installed. And I can get the truck down here for the marking and the marking mulch in there and get that playground back up in operation. Stuff looks good. We're going to do horizontal climber, get rid of that other one. It's kind of cool because it's that big ground, but kids can actually do the ground instead of just a straight line. A new arch climber. We had a problem with the space being too tight. So we're going to arch climber. I had bleachers inspected in both high school and middle school gyms. It's something that I would like to do now, especially the ones in the high school gym. Those bleachers are 28 years old, something like that. And they found a few minor things with them that we're going to have repaired. Nothing major at this point. This is something like we on top of the bleachers. And you can do a lot of stress cracks and stuff. Bleachers come off the wall. Crowded, which includes me, so wrestling events, if I don't wear things, we have it packed, so.
Who's the inspector? Sounds like the manufacturer.
I'm sorry,
Who's the inspector?
not the manufacturer, but a company that installs those bleachers, RJ McCardle, out of the Lancaster area, but they have local guys that live right in our school district, actually. They've been doing it for the past couple of years, so. Other than that, we're doing our spring thing with the field. So I got everybody in the right mood. Now we're in a week of rain, so we'll be back on things for a while. That's about it on my end.
Luther Klein is our German teacher who's here. We have a few minutes if you want to ask her any questions about the German trip.
I have a couple things I want to bring up. I mean, we can do this now, too.
Sure.
But I have 2 things I want to bring up.
Any questions, Luther?
Can you read the agenda, the itinerary quickly? It's
Sure, yes.
Yeah. He speaks fluent German, so
Go ahead.
go ahead and talk.
Okay, I can just give you a copy here of, they're both the same itinerary, the one in the spring and the one in the summer, which is here on the back. Not a very
How many students have shown interest?
well, it's really hard to say. I would guess maybe about 10 to 12 possibly that have had German so far. We would advertise the trip also to the ones that are taking German in the next school year. So hopefully we can get some more numbers, including the parents. You know, the parents would have the option.
Would you take any of us?
Well, certainly, sure, yes.
Luther, was there any, I mean, I know that John worked with another district. Was there any interest with Chambersburg's German classes of going on such a trip?
I did not do any research yet. I hear there might be a possibility of a Gettysburg, but I haven't contacted the German teacher yet in Gettysburg. I think Chambersburg has a exchange program that with a local school, so to where students to they switch around from year to year, to where the family hosts the students. So that's what Chambersburg does, more so than these trips. Yes. So I was thinking about developing a partnership in the future as well, if I can find a school.
So your brothers are gonna take them all in?
Well, he certainly would want us to come to a barbecue. He did say that. He would be very disappointed.
Where does he live?
It's near Trier, near the Luxembourg border. Yes, so Trier is on the agenda as well. This one here has a more detailed itinerary, which is the same as this one.
When my daughter and I went on the trip through passports to France, and then we, because of the numbers that we had, we piggybacked with other schools once we got there. Is this the same thing? Will you be, does passports put a whole group of like 26?
I know, it's just, I'm not so surprised when we get there.
Two other, a school from Minnesota and another school from somewhere else, I don't remember. But we all ended up getting together, and then we were all combined with all of these other kids that also had been taking French.
Okay, interesting. Not as far as I know, because I think that trip is very customized.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Semi-customized. But as far as I know, not, but, who knows when we get there. I'm not sure. He didn't tell me that.
We all knew in advance that was gonna be the case.
Yeah.
So.
It wasn't fun.
Yeah, passport stays only in high, upper scale hotels. So for, I guess, security reasons, and it seems, the kids are going to be extremely busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have the experience.
I have a couple things. Oh, shoot, she left. Did she? Oh. Well, remember. Oh, I don't. Well, then let me say that. It has been brought up a couple times in emails, and I wanted to make sure that the whole board was here before we had any discussions about our solicitor. You had questions about looking to get a different solicitor. We pay $175 an hour right now. And we have requested, I don't think we're having a solicitor at this board meeting tonight, that we don't need them every single time. Anyway, I want to open that up for discussion. Since it was brought up, and I think it's Becky said, better instead of emails, we should be discussing it. So here we go. Now's your chance.
I have a question. What does a typical meeting cost?
It really depends on how much time they have. There is their travel time and their time here, and it depends on the meeting length. It's a big swing. It's $175 an hour for.
Travel time is the same? Or it's one?
That I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You would know.
I don't know.
I'd have to check the bill for the bill specifics.
So we're averaging what, 4 hour meeting?
Plus reviewing ahead of time on the agenda.
I'm talking about with the review, because she's not here 4 hours, obviously, but.
I would say 4 hours would be a good average.
These two.
That's a lot.
$700. Well, I don't see a problem with let's open up to get prices. Can you get us prices from other, or what other solicitors would charge and?
We can do an RFP, typically is what
Yes.
you would do for something like
Yes,
this.
yeah. And then we can maybe have another part of the discussion. We have something to resolve.
Gonna need
You
to
all-
put
you
together
all
some assumptions and some
Okay,
details.
yeah, what do you wanna put in
You know,
there?
for example, maybe this isn't the place to do all that minutia, but you would need to put down, for example, how many meetings you would expect them to attend, that type of thing.
Well, one thing I would like to know is, do they all charge, travel? Do they all charge travel? I mean, that's one of the things I'd like to know, so.
And where do they come from?
And where do
They do charge travel.
They offer, because not every solicitor has. For example, that you can call there for real estate, you can call there for special ed, you can call there for bonding, you can call there, across the board, and there's somebody there, otherwise you're paying
Someone else.
somebody else, and you're not getting any of the discount you get when you work with one group.
I don't have any issue with stopping later, but I do think we need to work on when the solicitor is needed and when they're not. I think there's a lot of money to be saved there. And this is a contract, they're a contractor, and contracts should be shopped periodically. It's just good business.
Well, just look, we should at least look. I think should be fiscally responsible to do that. I mean, $700 a meeting is a lot to me, but. The other thing is, I know that we brought this up a while back, about recess and how important recess is at the elementary level. And they've done studies, and you said you even have read that same one, or somebody read it, the same one I did. And I would just like, as your plan for next year, since that does seem to show that they come back rejuvenated and they do better, so.
I already had a bit, Fiddler and I have been on it.
And we're laughing
High
because,
five then, good, all right.
we're laughing because one of the things when we met with that group of the improving schools, we asked them to give us their dream schedule, how much time they need for each subject.
Oh, good.
So they did that. And then I sat down and tried to work out a schedule, and I couldn't make it fit within the time day. So then I gave to them and said, okay, you all go back at your grade levels, and you come back with a schedule. Well, they found out they can't make it work with it, and part of what they wanted was 2 15-minute recesses a day.
And they can't make that work.
Not within what everything else they feel they need.
But I'm saying.
Now, and that's, yeah, I know that, but that was taking away the quote, enrichment time, because the goal was that they had to be able to do the enrichment and the remediation within the blocks of time that they were given, that they wanted, that they incorporated all
Well,
that
if
in.
we could start with a grade level, now let me just say this, if we start with a grade level, maybe this would prove to not need as much remediation. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the other person, fourth grade could not make it work, but they're still working on it, so maybe, But I will tell you, the teachers, their dream schedule was what we started with.
You mean what they already have?
No, they told us they told me. Told us how much time, and that they wanted 2 15-minute recesses a day.
Okay, well, thanks for looking into it, I just, well, it just would be nice. The other thing I do want to say is that, I think the traffic pattern at the elementary school has, I haven't gotten any complaints about it from people, and people seem to be very happy with it. I'm not gonna ask you yet, but you'll get your moment. The only thing, and I brought this up to Karen, and here's what she said to me, and I understand what she's saying, that when they go around this way and come out, they've now got to cross over. It's very awkward where you have been directing traffic. And it just seems like if they would go the other way, but I know you can't get as many people in the arrangement. But it just seemed awkward to me, that traffic pattern, but I just thought it really went well. And I love the buses, and I know the bus drivers were ecstatic about getting out of there before all the cars. So then and kids are getting home earlier, 5 or 10 minutes earlier, yeah, so.
It's definitely safe.
Yeah, I think.
Is
so.
traffic backing up onto the road, the approach road?
Honestly, as a parent who has been driving their child to school continuously, I had my doubts about it at first, and I'm not real happy, but, even the first few days, I don't think it took maybe 5 minutes longer than it used to.
It really does
I,
move. They do
I
move.
was not, I don't think that it caused a lot, and I didn't notice cars being backed up like I thought that they would be. I think the farthest I've seen them backed up is just to the field of Houston.
And we have, Howie is looking into what it would cost. Monty, remember we talked about adding that
Different entrance.
different entrance. So, you know, and that would stop that crossing because then it would have that.
So the answer is traffic is not backing up onto the approach road.
Oh, some.
It backs up some, but not like it ever has. And as long as the people keep.
Anyway, it seems to be working.
I did it today because I wanted to see. So I did it today because I didn't understand the cross thing up on time. Makes absolutely no sense. But when it was backed up, and kids were late today because it did take so long. I don't know if that was because of the weather or it was a Monday or what it was. But I was thinking the only suggestion I had was in the morning, the kids are already at school, so the buses are in, because I think you don't let the parents come in until 8:45, I can't remember what time it was, to come in.
They're there at 8:30.
Well, I already got two. I wasn't getting there early because I wasn't going to switch over time. So, anyhow, I pulled in about 8:45 and it was almost 8:55 before she got out. But, I thought in the morning, your buses are coming in and lining up in there. You almost could let the kids go at, I mean, I think you could almost let the cars come in and let out a little earlier because your buses are already there. You're not holding your buses up because they're just going to park. Does that make sense? Like in the afternoon, you want the buses to get out to get the kids home. In the morning, the kids are already at school, so you're not pulling them up by letting the cars come in and drop off. I'm not making sense.
The cars,
Aren't they doing that now?
the students,
I
all
was thinking
students
you're
enter the
waiting.
building at 8:40. That's what
Sure, like,
yeah,
see, I thought it said
There are
they're
parents
coming
sitting there waiting at 8:30.
So you're letting them come through there?
Yes.
They literally start lining up at 8:30.
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
Long
I thought you weren't
The
letting
paper
them
said
go.
8:45.
That's what I thought. I thought you were
That's
letting
what-
them.
Like I
So
said,
as soon as the door's open, you're letting the kids
Yeah,
out of the cars.
we're
Okay,
getting out.
that's what I was suggesting, so
Oh,
you're doing
okay.
that.
So
I
what
wasn't
happened
there
about
at 8:40 'cause I-
You open the doors at 30.
They come in at 8:20.
You know what I thought, I thought lots of parents would probably drive their kids to school because of, you know, if it's a hassle, they won't do it. So I thought it went good.
And I will say one parent said,
Yeah.
so there's no reason really for me to get her early. I said, not really.
Right.
So I noticed it's funny because the next day she was there, like that day she was there at 8:35. The next day she was there at 8:40 and she pulled right up and dropped the kid off and away she went.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I thought it worked. I just wanted to try it to see how it works.
And with the spring sports starting up, with track and everything down at the field, that's not gonna be a problem with
Nope.
trains.
Nope, because the kids have been told they are not allowed to park back there. They will stay in the parking lot.
Well, that's the kids that drive, and what about the parents that are dropping the kids off?
They're coming from the classroom.
Yeah, they just, for after school track, they just don't.
Yeah, they get right in school.
So they're walking over there when the buses are coming out and stuff already. So-
Well, they're already over there by the time the buses come out because the high school
They
kids,
get out in an hour.
they get out in almost an hour.
Elementary school, it's out at 3:30. They have to get practice.
I think the only time that it's really bad is when there is a meet. So people coming from other districts, you got the buses and the parents and all that. to get back.
And this family, he's already taken care of that with the other athletic directors.
The buses are going to park in the student parking lot and walk over.
Well,
Baseball, I've been in contact with Howie, and baseball is actually, they are not going to park that far away. They are actually going to go up McGinley and come in the dirt road.
Oh, very
And the
cool.
visiting team will drop off right at the baseball field, and that's where their bus will park.
Good.
There you go.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, because that does get a little hairy when all
Yep.
they work.
Okay, we gotta leave, anybody in the public?
Yes.
Not yet, Jeffrey. Yes?
I came to ask a question about a couple sports-related events. Is this the time to ask that question?
They've got coaches
Um,
or sports related.
I have two different,
What is your name, sir?
my name's Mike Dennison.
Mike Dennison,
Yeah.
thank you.
My first question is about middle school soccer. The numbers that we have right now, along with the numbers that are coming in next year, support the possibility of having a girls soccer team. The way it stands right now, we've got about 28 players, half boys, half girls. And the girls are made to play against all boy teams. And it's really not a great environment for the girls. It's better than nothing. But considering we have the numbers now, and we know we're gonna have the numbers next year, I know nothing's gonna change this year, but if we look towards the future, is it possible that we could have a girls soccer team for middle school next year?
Now our numbers are, he's right, 28. We have 15 girls and 13 boys. When you put them on the field, I mean, it doesn't give you very many extra in order to split it for this year. So we were waiting, I was in correspondence, like I have talked, and also with Coach Doxey about the potential for in the future that being a possibility. But we need to see exactly where our numbers were. And right now, his final roster was given to me today, and that's where we are, 15 girls and 13 boys.
Yeah, so obviously the girls go and play against mostly all boy teams, and
How come they're not playing against all girl teams?
We
You've
don't
got more girls than you have boys.
We don't have a girls sanctioned sport for soccer. We have a boys sanctioned junior high soccer team. And same as Hanover, there's a couple schools that are like that. Bermudian doesn't even have junior high soccer until next year for 2 year cycle at all. So, Hanover's in the same boat as we are. They don't have junior high girls and junior high boys. They play a co-ed. But you have to have it sanctioned under one gender. So that's why it's sanctioned under boys.
Are there enough other girls teams for them to play against?
Boys originally, that's not.
We have a team for
I'm not sure. That's a
What was the question? Would there be other girl teams for them to play against if there was a girls team?
Yes, if we sanctioned girls soccer here and we have the numbers, we could play against other girls teams. The league, the York Adams League that we were in would put us on the schedule for both boys and girls. So it would be no different than with boys and girls varsity soccer. When the boys team plays home, the girls teams play away. That's exactly how it would be.
Well, how do you sanction a girls soccer team? I mean, what does that mean exactly?
First, we'd have to have board approval and funding for the position and the coaches. And then from there, I would ask PIAA. And basically all I have to do is fill out paperwork for PIAA. And I would ask the league to vote us in for the next 2 year cycle for girls junior high soccer. And we would be added to the schedule.
Those positions have to be paid.
Agreed.
Yes, that's part of the collective bargaining then.
And you know that other schools have started things in the way of, I'm going to use DeLone as an example. They started lacrosse. The first year they did it, they started at JV and kind of club, and they just picked up games. So that could always be a possibility. We're going into a 2 year cycle right now, so the 2 year cycle schedules have already been voted upon for the league. But if we would decide to add, then I would be able to pick up games with those other schools in our league to fill a schedule, 10, 12 games. And then the next 2 year cycle, when we start that, so that we, not this coming 2 years, but the following 2 years, they would put us directly into the schedule. And it would be league schedule, not just exhibition.
Cost of referees, is that shared with the other team?
I'm sorry?
The cost of the referee?
No, if it's home, if it's a home event, we pay for
How much is that?
2 levels. I want to say $106
Per game?
per official. Well, no, that's the 2 game rate. Yeah, I want to say $106, I believe. It's real close to that. I don't know off the top of my head, but.
Crystal, could you do a performance that could show us an annual cost, what that program would look like if we could do it?
Sure.
And
Our girls must be awesome if they're playing boys.
We got some pretty good girls soccer players for sure.
It's kind of things are just good kids, so we can do that, we should.
And I agree. I mean, if the numbers are there, I think it's a great thing that we do.
Did you have something else?
The other question I had was not, I'm not asking this question about any specific coach, just an avenue in general. If we have coaches that are in place now that may be nice people, not necessarily good coaches in developing player skills, what's the avenue that we go through to discuss maybe making a change? Do we just talk to Crystal about it, or?
You can't make it. It's based on their evaluations and as to whether, and based on their evaluation from Crystal and my review, then the recommendation is to whether to review their contracts or not.
Okay, so this.
And I will say that we have changed the evaluation system this year because of that very concern.
Okay.
So maybe it will all fall into place here.
And I will also say there are times when it's been advertised for months and Crystal gets one application.
Okay.
It may be later on the agenda, but maybe we should look at the hiring process then. How do we advertise? How do we hire? What's the criteria? Where do we advertise? I think that's.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have a? Okay. All right, well then, our work session here is over. And please stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Whitcomb.
Here.
Mrs. Van Meter.
Here.
Mrs. Paquette.
Here.
Mrs. Cavey.
Here.
Mrs. Mays. Mr. Murray.
Here.
Mr. Strawler.
Here.
Mrs. Briggs. Here. Mrs. Lightfoot.
Here. All right, I need a motion to approve the minutes from the February 8th board work session. Second? Who seconded? Okay, Melissa. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? I need a motion for the February 8th regular board meeting. Second, Becky seconds. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. And here from the Historical Society to do a slight presentation.
You need my laptop, Jeff.
We have a big agenda today, so
Oh,
my speaking alone is going to take up most of the evening, so.
Gene, where are you? You had 10 minutes.
No, 5.
Oh, 5. You had 5.
And I would like to tell you that he is a grandfather again with another granddaughter. Congratulations.
Eliza Louise, born on Thursday, and mom's doing well. Grandparents are doing well.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's all that matters right now. I'll tell you one nice thing about coming into this meeting. Teach me of what I'm missing. So after 35 years, I just kind of brings back some fond memories. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to be able to speak to you. I am the president of the Fairfield Historical Society. It is a group, it's an outgrowth of the 150th celebration that we had here a few years ago. And our Historical Society is set up to protect and preserve the historical elements that are within our community. And folks, we have a lot of them. I'm just going to how much history that actually is here in our Fairfield area. First of all, we can start talking about the Indians, the Lenni Lenape. Supposedly set aside this area. Don't worry, I'll get it all.
Going back to the Indians, I'm worrying.
I know. The Lenni Lenape set aside the Fairfield area as their hunting grounds, the first conservationists. We also have, during the French and Indian War, the bark kidnappings that took place here up in Mount Hope. Some of you are familiar with that. A lot of people think automatically Fairfield, the Battle of Fairfield, the Civil War. There's a lot more to it than that. For instance, the Mount Hope and the Iron Springs area, there's the Tapeworm Railroad, established by Thaddeus Stevens. Now, some of you people might know, have heard of the Tapeworm Railroad and seen the viaducts and all that kind of stuff. People think that the Tapeworm Railroad was named because it wound through the mountains and so forth. The real reason why it was called the Tapeworm Railroad was like a tapeworm. It ate all the money up, state's money up. Battle of Fairfield, of course, we've already published a book about Battle of Fairfield. And we've also just published another book about the landowners in Fairfield, the town of Fairfield, from 1855 to 1865. So those are some of the things. And the other things are that Fairfield actually became a major agricultural area, later become part of the fruit basket of Northeast United States. And we've had copper mines, we've had people drilling for oil in Fairfield, all kinds of stuff. And of course, we all know about our secret military facility. So I don't want that information to get outside. But anyway, what I'm trying to point out to you here is that Fairfield is probably the second most historic town in Adams County. The first being, of course, Gettysburg. So it's really important that we take a look at our heritage and what we're all about. And that's what our organization is about. Now, when we talk about these kinds of things, there are three very important institutions in any community that are the glue that hold everything together. They are the church, believe it or not, volunteer fire companies, and the school. Those are our three most important institutions. So the school has been kind enough to allow Fairfield Historical Society to begin its kickoff meeting on April the 20th in the elementary gym. But make sure it's clean and everything else, it looks good. Okay. And at any rate, at that meeting, we're going to be doing a presentation on old schoolhouses in the Fairfield area. We have a slideshow that shows all the old schoolhouses. Well, not all the old schoolhouses. Some of them are no longer there. And we also have some other interesting pictures, and you'll really enjoy it if you're very Fairfield people. We have a picture of the Fairfield Chicken Coop School, which was a chicken coop that was converted into a classroom behind the village hall. I also have pictures of the outhouses that they used here at the high school. And many of you might already know, well, none of you that I see in here probably know. No? Well, she might. You might. The outhouses are located right about where we are right now. So at any rate, they were eliminated in about 1953, 54. Also have some pictures of the old buildings as the school was built in 1953, the first editions, and things like that. And possibly one of the coolest pictures that I have is a picture of the 1956 class of boys sitting in a home ec class, way ahead of their time. You people know that Fairfield was the first school in Adams County to have kindergarten. You all know that, and also the first school to have driver's ed. Now everybody's trying to get rid of driver's ed, but nonetheless, you're the first one. I've given you a little brochure there. I just wanted to take a couple moments to tell you about what we have coming up, because I think it's important, because you folks are the representatives of the glue that keeps our community together. So if you can make it out, it'd be great. If you want to join the Historical Society, that's even better. But at any rate, it's all about our school. And we have some other programs coming up in the future. We'll be making some announcements about that again. April the 20th, hope to see you there, folks.
At 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Anybody have any quick questions?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I thought I did a pretty good job with that.
We're not this is going to be went on Hill, so we're not having that part of the agenda. But now we have Brad.
Well, we have some good news here tonight, and I sense that I better
Like
be
good
quick.
news. Did the budget pass for the state?
Not that good.
They're waiting on it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so we have some good news. I'll try and be brief.
He's the one.
Okay, so I just handed out the bond issue. If you remember at the last work session, we talked about refinancing your 2009 bond and saving some money. So we've gone through the process. Caroline's done a great job preparing, going through the rating agency, minor root canal, and I let you refer. They asked a lot of questions, asked for a lot of information. They want to know all about you, what's going on at the district, what's going on in the community, so they can put a credit rating on your bond issue. An A+ rating, and we're very proud to keep that together. One of the things that's been very interesting, I heard the budget mentioned tonight, is that we have schools have not been seen getting very many upgrades lately in the present budget. So the fact that you were able to hold on to where you were was very good, because we have seen people be going down for that because of various reasons. So
We thank our business manager. I think she keeps a tight ship.
She
does
does.
a good job.
Keep my shit right. She was emailing me today, what's going on? And, you know, I know when we were at the last meeting, we were estimating that we'd save about $182,000 of savings, but that wasn't acceptable to Caroline. We were trying to go for more. So when we got it all done today, I'll get to that page, we put over $200,000 of savings, which is really good news. So as I mentioned, in February, we were at the meeting, if you go through the credit rating and things like that. In my handout, that I'll go through it quickly, the page numbers are the bottom right-hand side. I want to point out on the interest rate chart, in the middle there, I don't know if you're familiar with called the yield curve. That's where you put a lot of different points for different rates for different years. And then you kind of draw lines, so year one, and so forth, year 30. And you'll see here, there's the gray bars. For the last 10 years, the top, the high part of the gray bar is the highest, the low point's the bottom. The red's the average, and the blue's where we are today. So we're below where we've been for the last 10 years. So that means you're hitting market at a very good time. So that was good. The next several pages is that credit rating report. I always think it might be interesting for board members to have that and look. Because we send a lot of information that Caroline provides us. We have about an hour conference call answering a lot of questions. They give us a whole bunch of things to answer. Caroline does most of the heavy lift. And then they put this report together. I always find interesting on page 5, which is towards the back, it has outlook. They thought you were very stable, your A+ is very stable, and it talks about upside scenario, downside scenario, gives you an idea of what can happen, what can help us go up. Obviously, things like the budget, you have the control on, but what can you possibly do? This is the history. Continue to see these going up. No, that's good. The downside, you can see there, increased pension costs are forced the districts to use up its reserves, and reserves were to deteriorate to the level we consider commensurate with lower rating and lower the rate. So it kind of talks about some of the things that we just mentioned, keeping your house clean, making sure your finances are in good shape, that helps you with this rating process. So a lot of times, what happens is when investors, they look at the rating, we talk about buying, putting orders and buying bonds. So what happened this morning, we worked with the underwriter, or actually Friday, we started on Friday, putting where we thought that we would offer the bonds at, and we get orders or bids in for those from different investors. And then we sort through them and figure out, where the orders are and things like that. And what happened, which was real nice today, was that we like to talk, the screen was green, which means that the rates were, market was good. So we had a lot of orders. So what we were able to do last Friday, we had something like, I don't know, $190,000 of savings we were projecting. We got through the order period on the bids. Rates to $200,000 of that savings. One thing that I mentioned in the February meeting was we weren't going to stretch the debt out. We're going to pay it off the same amount of time. We're just going to get a higher rate and replace it with a lower rate. So page 7, and I went sideways here to keep the numbers big. Column 3, if you remember, the rates that were fixed on the bonds were all in the 3 range from some of the 310 to 395. And what we were able to do is replace them in this case in column 4. You'll see on page 9, somewhere from 0.39 to a 1.95 rates. Those are the rates. And you do all the calculations. You go to the far right column 14. We're saving about $31,000 in this year's budget, and somewhere between $27,000 and $29,000 in each of the subsequent budgets, totaling about $201,000. Okay, that's the bottom column. And we're going to pay it off in the same amount of time. That's kind of where it ended up. So we were pleased with that. The combination of lower rates, and also we were able to get some of the costs down. So one of the things that I also paged on page 11, I think I had in my last town in February, a listing of all your bonds, all your payments. We've updated that to reflect the refinancing if you decide to move forward with that. And then the very last page, one of the pages that I have to use, it's interesting here where when you kind of roll up your sleeve and get into it, I looked at Fairfield Area School District A+ rating. They had another bond for a school done at the end of last week. They were AA-, slightly higher. Okay, but if you look at the yield column there, you can see we were very competitive. And several spots we were lower. Okay, and some spots we were just a smidge higher because of the credit rating, but we kept that really tight. It's really how we got to 200. This is like a sheet, a 1 page. I try and summarize and put it back in states, and I have something else to break out. So I'm sure there's some questions. I'd be happy to answer them if you have any, but obviously pretty good
Any
result.
questions?
Pretty good. So if there's no
Like
questions,
the 200 too.
just mentally, just something else.
Yeah.
If there's no question for me, Mr. Robinson's not going to be here. He has the resolution here.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Steve Hollis. I'm with the law firm of Scott Committal, act as bond counsel in this transaction. I passed out a final resolution, and did everyone receive a draft of that resolution in the board packet?
In the agenda, other action items A, it's just a very small.
Okay, I was going to review basically the changes, because based on the pricing that Mr. Reddick reviewed with you here this evening, we incorporate in the resolution the final pricing as well as some of the final elements associated with the sale. And therefore, this resolution is fundamentally authorizing this bond series of 2016 for the specific purpose of currently refunding your 2009 bonds. So that's what you're authorizing here this evening. In accordance with the Local Government Unit Debt Act, before a school district or any political subdivision issues debt, they must do that by way of an authorizing resolution. That authorizing resolution will then be converted into an application to DCED. DCED will then approve the application and then permit the school district to issue the debt, as well as then issue the bonds on the date of settlement. The resolution basically approves everything that was reviewed with you by Mr. Remick, as well as the bond purchase agreement with RBC, who is the underwriter of this transaction. It also authorizes the paying agent fee in M&T, as well as part of this transaction, they structured it with bond insurance. So in this case, you're authorizing the issuance of bond insurance, as well as the ultimate refunding of your 2009 bonds with an anticipated refunding price, which is incorporated into the resolution, is on page 18. And the purchase price for the bonds, page 19. The purchase price for the bonds is $6,194,656.35, which is fundamentally the par amount of the bonds plus the overall premium associated with the issuance of that bonds, less the underwriter's discount. So that's how we got to that number. And you can link up both of those numbers, the underwriting discount as well as the premium, in the information that Mr. Remick provided to you, which is the information with the green cover sheet. So that's basically an overview of a 20-plus page resolution. More than happy to go into greater detail, but as Jack said, I think I only have 5 minutes to give my time. And I'm just glad DEP wasn't around when they were digging up those outhouses. Their project never would have gotten done. So are there any questions?
Any questions? Marcy, do you have a question? You look like you have a question. I know. Thank you. Some questions.
And there will be a number of documents that will need to be signed as a result of the approval of the resolution, so the DCD application documents. So the board president as well as the secretary will need to sign this. I'll check it out at the end of the meeting and get those signatures at that point.
I'm not liable for anything that I.
There is no
$6 million.
There is no personal guarantee in this resolution, so I can tell you that you are not personally liable.
And we do need a move to approve that resolution and a second, and then roll call.
Right now, we're going to action A, but you need to, well, since he's done that, and if they have, can I have a motion? Do you mind doing that out of order? I guess you have to wait until
He can leave, I have to stay. 50-50. He takes the-
Yeah, or I can leave if that part is done.
Ray can leave if you go ahead and if they pass the motion.
We need to allow public comment on it or anything first before we vote on it.
That would be a good question.
It wasn't added to the
It wasn't
agenda.
added.
It wasn't
But
added,
I
so.
didn't know
You just
since
need a
they
motion.
normally come
And the
before.
only
No,
person
you
that wants to speak,
Have a second.
Kelly just made the motion. And Becky seconded. And roll call. Any discussion? Roll call then.
Mr. Wickham.
Yes.
Mrs. Van Meter.
Yes.
Mrs. Paquette.
Yes.
Mrs. Cavey.
Yes.
Mrs. Mays. Mr. Murray.
Yes.
Mr. Stroller.
Yes.
Mrs. Briggs.
Yes.
Mrs. Meister.
Yes. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, thanks.
Thank you. Good job.
Okay, student reports.
Right, so about 2 weeks ago, I think, the high school premiered the Little Mermaid Junior. It was a pretty big hit. We all had a lot of fun, and I personally debuted a dress. I made costumes.
Proud of that job you did on that. That was amazing.
So Monday after the musical, all the spring sports started, so that was pretty good planning on the whole musical part, since we lose about half of the kids to track every year. The year book should be done within weeks. Me and a couple other people have been working really hard on it. I think it's going to be pretty good this year. So I hope everyone gets to enjoy it, and if you guys see it, it's going to be pretty nice, I hope. And National Library Week is coming up. It'll be next month, I think, from the 10th to the 15th. And me and Alyssa are actually working with the high school, middle school library, and we are hoping to have a Spirit Week to encourage more kids to utilize the library and find some new books that they might be interested in.
Okay, so since the board last met, the high school participated in the FFA pep rally and the Spirit Week, which ended with a very entertaining pep rally, in my opinion. Currently, we are in the midst of FCCLA's Spirit Week. And lastly, I wanted to note that I was given the opportunity by Ms. Kubler to sit in and give my input on the applicants of the IT position. I really enjoyed that experience. I learned a lot from it, and I wanted to thank Ms. Kubler for giving me that opportunity.
I was going to ask you how your experience, what you felt about that, so.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Good. I bet you learned a lot.
I did.
And we thank you for your insight, because it really did help, the adults at the table.
Okay.
Building celebrations.
Are you ready to go into celebration?
I was gonna mention several things that they already mentioned, but that's good that they're mentioning.
Yeah, your job is easy.
I know, they helped me out. So the musical, absolutely a success. Sports definitely are underway. The Ag Olympics did happen in late February, and the FCCLA is doing a Spirit Week this week. To add to that, you've heard me talk numerous times about the school-wide positive behavior initiative that we have going on in the high school this year, and one of those incentive pieces is a culminating event, and so we have organized that, and we're going to go to DC with the students that have won or that have shown a lot of the initiative for positive behavior. So they're going to have some options on what they get to do. We're not telling them they have to do X, Y, Z. They're going to have some choice. Also, one thing that we all think that's a good place to talk about virtues of a night. Certainly those people exhibit some pretty great virtues. So we're going to do that. So I wanted to speak on that a little bit.
Would explain it, not costing them anything.
Yeah.
That's going to be the question.
Jacoby has donated the transportation, and the bus driver has donated his time. So that's pretty nice. So we'll use the metro and whatnot while we're down there, of course. Also, right now there's two art shows going on. One at Adams County in Gettysburg, one at the Hanover Art Guild. Some of our students' work is on display there if you'd like to go and check that out. I think through the month of March. And then finally, I found out today that Archery Club went last Friday and participated in a state tournament. 10 of 11 of the students set new personal bests, and ninth grader Shania Brown shot 271 out of 300. So she finished 31st out of 409 females. That's ninth grader. So. Well, in the group we're shooting for the first time, not our students, but students from another school. And Mr. Murray just remarked how our students, without being asked, went and helped those students. So again, that just kind of goes back, and it's not necessarily because of the school-wide positive behavior, but it goes back to what our students do and what we're about when they go out and go to these events. So
Brian, even their reputation on the field in sports, the things that come back from other coaches and other schools, administrators, is just really, they praise our students about.
So that culture is important. We want to continue that.
Yeah,
they do a great job with that.
At the elementary school, I would like to celebrate the arts, music, literacy, and the generosity of our community. To start, I want to celebrate the art department because we had 2 students whose posters, it was a statewide poster contest about alcohol awareness, And we had 2 winners. There were only 2 winners in Adams County, and we had them both. Yes, I was very proud of them. 2 young girls. We have Madison Kalor and Madison Harrison. Some of you may remember the name of Madison Kalor. Last year, she won a national contest for Martin Luther King, and her poster was created, and it's in the Smithsonian gift shop. So
Check that out.
I have to check it out. So Ms. Kugler, myself, and Mrs. Tompkins are going to the State Museum on April 5th so that these 2 students will receive their award. It's a statewide, and there are students from every county. So Tim Holden will be giving them their award. Very pleased with that. Going to celebrate music. Tomorrow evening is the elementary concert. Our theme is a pirate theme. So it showcases our 4th grade students, our chorus, and our chorus is 2nd through 4th grade, and also our 1st year band students. So that's tomorrow evening here at the high school, 6:30, free. And if you can answer this question, we'll give you a front row seat. Ready? What is a pirate's favorite letter? All right. Now you all have to come and sit in the first row. Say your Now I want to celebrate literacy.
I'll save you a seat.
On Tuesday, the 23rd of March, which is a little bit more than a week from now, we are having our family literacy night. And the activities include writing, reading, and illustrating. We have guest readers. And our theme is stars and outer space. Literacy and reading can take you to a galaxy far, far away. I also want to celebrate our students, our future students. On March 31st, we have our kindergarten registration. And it is by appointment. Headman, bringing the students in, so I'm going to thank you for that. Right now, I believe we are at 35.
Yes.
We have 35 students who have appointments, and we usually get a whole lot more the day before. So we'll see how it goes. Now to the generosity of our community. On behalf of the PTO, I want to thank all of you who participated in buying the raffles for the season, for Hershey Park season passes. The person who won it is Shannon Schaefer. Ms. Kugler donned her Hershey Kiss hat and pulled the winning ticket, and we have 27 other consolation prizes for the students only. But Shannon Schaefer is a bus driver for our district, and she buys from the students every time they, Ms. Shannon, will you buy this? Will you buy that? So she's bought pies and pizzas and raffle tickets, and this time she won the 4 season passes to Hershey Park. The art winner of the art contest, she sold the ticket. So, thank you. She got a 5-pound chocolate bar. As the winner. Yeah.
How much money is that raise?
Oh, over $6,000. Do you remember, Mrs. Mays, the amount?
It was $6,000.
It was $6,000. It was over $6,000, and that money will be used for the elementary playground addition, phase 2 of that, and hopefully to be used for the kindergarten playground.
I can tell you. It was a profit of $6,847.10.
Wow. Again, Kelly, because she couldn't hear you.
It was profit of $6,847.10.
And also in the generosity of our community, I wanted to thank everyone on behalf of the middle school and myself, the Roots Harvest Fairfield program. Currently, we have 35 students who participate in taking home bags on Friday. And there are 28 bags that go home at the elementary and 7 at the middle school.
Actually, there's 8 at the middle school now.
There's 8 8.
Yeah, another one today.
Another one today. Okay, so we have 36 bags that we send home on Fridays. And through the generosity of the church and the community, these kids are just so grateful. And I just want to thank you on behalf of them. And
Their faces really light up when they get their bags.
they really do.
They appreciate it.
Very much so. So my 5 minutes are over. I know I took more.
You timed me?
Thank you.
All right, in the middle school, I'm glad that Aluja Klein and John Deal are here because from March 7th to the 11th was Foreign Language Week. And the 6th and 8th grade students were able to listen to visitor with presentations. And John, you spoke about Colombia and China?
In China.
And China. Then we had baking on, and I'm sure that the students just absorb every word.
Yes.
Because everyone smiles in the same language. And that is just so true. Thank you. This week is Spirit Week for the middle school. Today was Red, White, and Blue Day, and I need to tie my shirt for tomorrow. With our dance on Wednesday after school for the middle school students. Thursday we do Hawaiian Day. I hope you have nice weather on Thursday. And I wanted to commend the Little Mermaid Junior. That was just awesome. I don't know how many of you were able to see it, but it was just wonderful. I think it was the best I've seen so far.
I agree.
And I wanted to tell you, when I heard that you made that dress for Ursula, I was like, oh my gosh, you should have been seamstress. It was remarkable. It really was. Congratulations. I don't sew at all, so it is. And then I'd like to recognize what our 6th grade teachers are doing. They have monthly celebrations and a student recognition ceremony. They have a ticket recognition system. See that a student helped a student, the virtues of the night. They have their name written on the ticket, and then at the end of each month, they go into the auditorium, and the students are praised for their behavior, and they draw a name, one girl and a boy, for a reward. And the reward may be having lunch with teachers. It may be that they watch outside and with a friend. Maybe they watch a movie with a friend and the teachers. But what is the most impressive is that although 2 students win, they all clap and cheer. I mean, even the students who didn't get their name drawn. And that's what impresses me the most, just the support of the other students. And I think Brian alluded to that with the archery, that they do support one another. That's just nice to see. That's what I have. Thank you.
I was gonna say, Karen, I know somebody that does costumes at Broadway. I could do well there. Okay.
She's on Ireland, I was like.
On the sideline. Yeah, you can do this during the summer. All right, we're gonna move to public comment. The only person that signed up that would like to speak is Dean Thomas.
I have a question then. Can I have Mr. Stanley's 3 minutes? Can I have Caroline Stanley's 3 minutes?
No, and you've got 3 minutes. Ready?
No, I'm not. I need
Where are you going?
draw some pictures.
Oh, okay. He has signed up to speak about the elementary pickup and drop off.
This is drawing time.
Yeah,
I just wanted you to know where he was going.
Okay, I don't know if any of you have been to see the new drop-off arrangement. It's a real trip. Mentioned Rich Wine last Monday. Essentially, it's backwards. Well, I'll show you what's happening right now. This is in.
European style. It's exactly what it is.
And this is out.
That's the cross driving.
That's the
Right
process
there.
that I'm referring to.
If we went the other way, we don't have any crossover. And it was mentioned that traffic's gonna back up out on the road. Well, guess what? Traffic's gonna back up out on the road no matter what. Yes, you can stack more cars in the parking lot,
Yeah, that's.
but they back up anyway, unless, I mean, today there was no crossing guard. Last Monday, we had a crossing guard, but the crossing guard needs to stop traffic, and doing it the other way, we don't have to stop any traffic.
But now that you know that things aren't backing up as much, maybe it won't be an issue.
What's not backing up?
Well, they're saying that with the way it's going out, the European model, the traffic's really not backing up that bad. And they're not lining up until they have to be dismissed or they're dropped off. As long as everybody comes on time and they don't try to get there an hour early.
It's just if you want to be continually bucking traffic, that's all.
I'm just gonna add your drawing thing. Because actually, what we've talked about with Lonnie is to extend this road out, so this becomes a different, the accent, and this only becomes an entrance. But it won't happen till next year. So there won't be any crossover there. So all we have to do is get through the rest of the remainder of it.
I'm sorry, where's the road
The
going?
little fire, there's a little fire hydrant right here. There's a light post here.
On the other side
It'll actually go straight out from the end of the current playground. So it'll come straight out.
Right. You know how your cars are lining up here and coming out? They'll go straight out. There'll be a road.
Just into the road, but.
Yeah, it'll be
another entrance into the
they
lot.
won't be crossing over each other. What'll be coming in, the whole entryway that now we split, the people come in and out the same, everybody will win that way, and the new road, they'll come out. So they don't.
Yeah, but they're still gonna have to cross over. If they come out here, they're gonna have to go here, and people are coming
off
in
and they'll be stuck there.
But there'll be enough space, they should
to
not.
do one at a
Right.
time.
Shouldn't.
Like I said, I did today and I didn't
Like
think it was an issue.
lavender.
What if you just extended the sidewalk to the end of the playground and then the kids have that side, you got the two teachers there, then you could bring them in, line them up, and then they could come out the right way, but you just have extra sidewalk. I haven't even looked at it, so I don't know.
No, I'm trying to figure out where you're talking about going with the sidewalk.
Just so you
That's all.
can come in the way you would think you would come in, you know, you can come in on the right side.
Counterclockwise?
Come in on the right side, line up along the sidewalk, maybe if it was back along the playground, and then come out the right, the correct. The way you don't see it,
Kids go in through the other end.
I'm trying to figure out where the sidewalk you're talking about, that's all I'm lost.
I'm just saying, there is no sidewalk up along
Yeah,
that.
where are you, so you're talking about along the side of the
Just
playground?
put this, or yeah, drop them off there and let them go in that end door. So I
Well,
don't
you were
think-
also presented with a plan to use the front entrance, which would make a big circle around the,
Yeah, but they tried it with the bus. We had a bus driver, actually, when Lonnie and I were there that morning. We had a dude that have to come in and drop off. And by her recommendation, and the bus, don't touch the buses right now.
Yeah,
Honest,
they're
that
in
is the
great shape.
best system going on right there.
Utilize the, I guess you call that the north side of the parking lot, the buses would have to back up. They have to pull in, unload, and back up. And anytime you have a bus backing up, or any vehicle backing up, you increase the risk to the students. So we try to avoid that part of the buses backing up. And the only way to do that was to keep them where they were. I thought we had agreed on something a little bit different. I thought we had agreed to a counterclockwise flow and a drop-off 10 minutes sooner. And I know everybody says that if you do that, they're going to come 10 minutes sooner and sooner. But I believe that 10 minutes would space out some of those kids enough to break some of that backup. That's my belief.
I don't know that I agree with that belief.
You're allowed to
Only,
say that.
well, and, you know, I dearly love you. parking lot on certain days, or many days. There's just too many, really, there's too many kids in cars, is what it is.
Right.
I mean, if they would all ride the buses,
I told you what the problem is.
what, I forget.
Too many female drivers.
Oh, don't go there, Dean.
Let's just say for a minute that you did allow kids to enter the school 10 minutes early. How many cars would be absorbed in that 10 minutes?
Even today, it was not bad. Like I said, I got there at 1:45. I mean, it took, what, 8 minutes? But I thought too, people had put on Facebook or something that it was moving pretty smooth. And that's even with the cross. And today there was something out in traffic. And parents were people are slowing down because they have to do that. So they're just, I think, naturally being
I think
courteous
we need to
because-
congratulate the parents, because I think they're the ones that have.
And there was plenty of
It was a
times
huge
that-
inconvenience.
It really was, yeah, I think it was.
Well, so then I think, it's no real inconvenience, maybe we just continue the way it is until the end of the year. We put aside, that road in, and then we can reevaluate.
Or try it.
The only thing about just for a day trying something, you now have these people all in a pattern, I just hate to see it rearranged right now. Now, if we want to try that in the fall, try a whole different pattern, but they seem to have it down.
Yeah, it seems like.
I mean, and these are people that are using it,
I just. I'm concerned about even any earlier. I don't know that that's fair to the teachers, to be honest with you. Because if you let them go in earlier, that's the time that those kids need to be supervised. And that time up until 8:40, I mean, that's what teachers use that for planning, I'm sure, getting, ready for the day. And then that's things that they take away from other times in their day that they have to do. I don't know that that's fair.
It's 10 minutes.
When you're a teacher, I think that 10 minutes is.
Come spend a day.
Contractually.
Yeah.
Because I think we used to have something like that.
Problem is
with
with
kids
kids
went
10 minutes
to-
away, this is the time that they're having IEP meetings and that kind of thing.
Well,
So
kids
if,
get in trouble.
if the teacher's nobody there.
It really is, Lonnie. It used to be like that. I know in the high school, middle school.
Right.
But you would have so many incidents in the gym and stuff when all those kids are in there. You have maybe 2 teachers in there and you have all those children and they're just crazy wild because, you can't help it, they're just there.
It's the age group.
So, and it just can get, it doesn't seem like much, but it used to be like that. But I thought contractually some of that changed too with the time and what we needed with other stuff. And so I don't know, but.
Change is never easy.
Only 10 minutes, I know.
I think that's why I'm so impressed with how this has gone.
I think so too. I bet the teachers though that have to stand out there and make sure the kids get out of the cars, they're probably not real happy. And over the winter when it's cold and snowing, I don't think they're gonna like that.
They may not be, but Tom.
It's no different than standing out on the area.
Get out
or
knowing you're
something,
something.
not right on the buses.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go that's true too. Yeah, that's true. But anyhow, so yeah, I appreciate it. I thought it was.
And because
I went
everybody's
to
moving
see because
quickly,
I
it's
didn't
only
like the
10,
idea of
15
it.
minutes tops,
But when
right?
I did it today, it wasn't terrible. Well, I'll say it was not.
No negative chatter.
It was not.
And boy, there would be, there would be. Yeah, me too, I was watching for it, but nothing.
And I'm gonna ask them, how's it going? But they were telling me, I'm thinking,
Even that one bus driver who stops me everywhere I'm at, I'm serious, I forget her name, but lovely, she's lovely, but when she's not happy, lets me know, but she seems to be happy, everybody seems to be,
Yeah.
So I think, well, let's move on, because we don't want to be here all night. All right, we're gonna move to the consent agenda. Does anyone want any polls?
Yeah.
I would just, now we are going to, in polls, you have the ND on there.
Right, I
One
gotta
or the
take one
other.
out. You'd rather have D, is that correct?
sorry?
That You'd rather have the earlier date for the trip?
It's
because
cheaper.
it's cheaper. Yeah.
It's cheaper, yes.
Okay. Thank you, by the way,
That's just
for-
looking for the April one because it's cheaper, but if that's a problem with school, we'll see what we can make happen in the summer.
If that's what you want, then you'll need a motion to remove E.
A motion to remove E. Do I have a second? Okay, we roll call on that then?
Well,
Remove?
discussion, if they want to have any discussion.
it's,
Right.
they're going with what she would prefer, so, we're gonna, roll call to remove E.
Mr. Whitcomb?
Yes.
Mrs. Van Meter?
Yes.
Mrs. Paquette?
Yes.
Mrs. Carey?
Yes.
Mrs. Mays?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Strawler?
Yes.
Mrs. Briggs?
Yes.
Mrs. Meitzler?
Yes. Any else that you want to pull?
I don't want to pull anything else, but I'd like to have some discussion on O.
O, discussion on O, about the supplemental contracts for coaches. Okay, what,
Or maybe I direct it to Crystal. Could you talk about how long and where we advertise these positions?
Well, they're on our website. These are just like any of the teacher vacancies or the aides or any of that. Plus I send a list to the Gettysburg Times and they run them ever so often for free for us. And then usually I try to have them on the athletic webpage as well.
So we don't actually pay the Gettysburg Times to run it, it's just if they happen to want and have time to do it, they'll do it for us.
Correct.
And they do it pretty consistently.
Yeah, I mean, they usually, they go off of what other schools give them as well. I mean, they kind of do a rotation, but usually it's like maybe twice a month in there.
How long have they advertised?
Well, they're advertised usually that week, so.
1 week?
1 week? Yeah, I believe so.
No, they're advertised.
So one
They're
day,
actually-
they're advertised once or twice throughout that month.
For months.
Yeah.
They're advertised until the position is filled.
oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
was thinking you meant in the newspaper and I'm like,
Well, no, but I mean.
but no, they're advertised until they're filled. Like there's still, until you approve. I mean, they're not taken off until after the board approves the new hires.
I'm not quite sure how to ask this, but an applicant that didn't want to be paid, that's not possible.
Nope.
A volunteer cannot apply for a coach position.
Correct. These are contracted positions as part of the collective bargaining agreement.
And a volunteer that wanted to donate his pay back to the program could not be a coach.
I mean, if they did that as a donation, then
You could take,
Yeah.
they could take their check and then write a check back as a.
right. I mean, they would be paid from the school district, and then if they wanted to write a check back and say, I wanted to go into, I don't know, whatever.
All they can do is return it back as a donation.
Right.
Do you know some of those people, Lonnie?
Sorry.
Do you know some of those people that would like to do that?
Oh,
Well,
yes.
first of all, he couldn't, because he's sitting on the board. He couldn't sit on the board and be a coach, could he?
I don't want to be a coach.
It's not him. Oh, it's not. Okay, point out that our new, well, after we vote, our new IT person, Mr. Maker is here, and I want you to, could you stand up? This is the gentleman and his wife Emily, who's sitting next to him. Both Fairfield graduates, by the way, so coming back this way, which is really nice to have.
Congratulations. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Good.
Well, I'm actually gonna be the most exciting person in the room.
I don't know. I don't.
Oh, yeah, I do.
I think they're all kind of, well, yeah, probably because you're having to deal with it.
I have some other questions.
Sure.
The field trip, is this one of the Lead Fest trips?
There is no Land Fest, there is no Land Fest money anymore.
Okay, so they made this no good?
There is, yeah, absolutely not. They did not.
All right, so we're paying for this?
The funding for that came from money that came to the school via Giant Target Pictures Plus.
Oh, good, okay.
Budget.
It's just a combination.
Yeah, the
But the
Len
Len
Fest
Fest-
is not funding these anywhere anymore. They've stopped funding a lot of things. Unfortunately.
I have another question was, on M. It says a great permission for the administration to advertise and recommend for hire a part-time for the rest of this year. Well, what happens after that?
They remain.
So it's
It's-
not
it's-
just
it
for
can-
the rest of the 2016, it's to hire for.
Correct.
A
It
long
completes this, well, and that position is based on need and it's to complete the year that this person didn't complete.
So would that person continue on next year, or would they have to be rehired again to do it next year?
they would need to be rehired based on the need.
Okay. And then in P, it says that the money would come from, the money not used for varsity winter cheerleading. Did we not have any cheerleading?
We
this
did
winter?
not.
No,
Because we couldn't find a coach or didn't have the girls to do it?
no, we didn't have the number of girls. Via the board policy, it says 6, and we only had 4 signed up. With middle school as well.
Does that fully cover the funding? Like, is it even?
Yes, because what happens is, the middle school and the high school and the fall and the winter for middle school are all combined into one salary, what's it called? Account, so it was enough in there.
And my last question was in Q. It says that the start of employment is determined by the superintendent. Correct. Is there soon?
As soon as clearances and things that have to be done are done, and that his current employer releases him.
Okay.
Yes, I would like him to start in 2 weeks ago.
That's all my questions.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, nobody wants any tools, so we're voting from A all the way to CC, so I need a motion.
Before you do that,
Oh,
I ask one more question about X.
Sure.
It talks about standing committees, and it talks about standing committees as a policy and education. I thought when we decided to be committee as a whole, that those committees were banned or disbanded. Is that not the case?
No, because
There are certain standing, I'm sorry, Ken. There
No,
are
that's
certain,
okay.
there are certain standing committees of which, remember, this board added negotiations because that's one that always exists.
Right.
And because there's always been a standing education committee if that's needed.
Okay.
They don't always meet, but if
Not
there's
active,
one,
but they're standing.
correct.
Well, and if we felt a need to form a committee for, like, we have that library group going. We have 2 people co-chairing that library committee. So if we see a committee is needed, we can still go ahead.
And actually, the library committee falls under the education standing committee because it is an education component.
Makes sense.
Now,
Second.
okay, Becky and Marcy, and roll call.
Mr. Wickham.
Yes.
Mrs. Van Meter.
Yes.
Mrs. Paquette.
Yes.
Mrs. Cavey.
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes. Mr. Murray.
Yes.
Mr. Stroller. Mrs.
Yes.
Briggs. Mrs. Mike.
Yes. Congratulations. Make sure you get your stuff all together quick.
Absolutely.
We're in deep dire need. All right, so now we have just,
I'm about to distribute the ballot here for you to vote for the LIU school directors. If you would please vote and return that.
if you notice, there are only 4 and there are only 5, so it's not a real difficult ballot here. Okay, while you're looking those over, does anybody else have anything they want to bring up? Kelly?
Just a question, a clarifying question. This library committee. I guess I've been kind of confused because it seems like it's developed over time, and I just want to know what exactly is the purpose? Is it just for the elementary library this time? Is it for all the libraries? Or
That committee will will make a recommendation as to where we're going, period.
Okay.
Here's where we want to be, whenever.
Okay.
And what the staffing and everything is that we'll take to get there.
Okay. And
Yes, yes,
Okay.
we were trying to get the visits out, the visits out of the way before we met so that we all saw the different versions of school libraries.
So you have
That's what I
something,
thought, but-
yeah, so you have something to
So we
discuss.
have Big Springs on Friday, I
That's it.
think,
And that's it, so then.
And for those of you who didn't see your emails yet, I actually sent you, Kevin Roberts, who's the assistant superintendent at Big Spring, sent us, he had talked to me a little bit about, he wanted to be able to provide you some background as to how they got to where they did that. So he sent that, and I've sent that out to you tonight to review.
Oh, good. Okay, I need a motion to adjourn then. Second. All in favor?
Mrs. Van Meter, Mrs. Bichette, Mrs. Mike, so I do need signatures very quickly.
I need back the, things on the, that's it.
Congratulations.